In a quiet corner of Switzerland stands an architectural oddity, a 180-foot concrete tower that resembles a futuristic silo. To the average tourist, it's just another piece of European modernism. But to the global financial system, this building is the Tower of Basel. It's a place where national law stops at the front door. The Swiss police cannot enter here. Swiss tax authorities have no power over its accounts. Its employees enjoy diplomatic immunity, and its archives are inviolable. This is the Bank for International Settlements, the BIS. Born to settle the debts of a world war, it survived a global attempt to abolish it and today acts as the central operating system for the money in your pocket. In the next 15 minutes, we are going to expose how the world's most powerful bankers created a sovereign state for themselves and why, in an era of total surveillance, they remain the only people who truly stay in the shadows. The story of the BIS doesn't begin in a boardroom, but in the ruins of World War I. By 1929, the global economy was screaming. Germany was suffocating under the astronomical reparations debt of the Treaty of Versailles, the equivalent of billions of dollars in today's money. The victors, the US, UK, and France, needed a way to move massive amounts of gold and currency across borders without triggering a total collapse of the German mark. In 1930, the Young Plan created the BIS. Its official job was simple: a technical middleman to collect German payments and distribute them to the Allies. But the men who designed it had a much more ambitious vision. They were led by Montague Norman, the eccentric governor of the Bank of England, and Hjalmar Schacht, the brilliant but controversial head of the German Reichsbank. They wanted more than a post office for debt. They wanted a third space, a private club where central bankers could meet in total secrecy, away from the noise of democracy and the interference of politicians. They believed that money was too complex for voters to understand, and therefore, the management of money should be insulated from the public. But just as the doors opened, the Great Depression hit. Germany defaulted on its debts. The bank's original purpose, collecting reparations, was gone in less than 2 years. In any other industry, the BIS would have been liquidated. But the bankers had built something too useful to let go. They pivoted. The BIS became the only place on Earth where the world's money movers could talk off the record. It had survived its first crisis by making itself the indispensable nerve center of global finance. Then came 1939. As the Nazis marched across Europe, the BIS faced a choice: moral clarity or neutrality. It chose the latter, and in doing so, it nearly destroyed itself. This is the chapter they don't want you to read. Throughout World War II, the BIS became the primary clearing house for Nazi-looted gold. When Germany invaded Czechoslovakia, Belgium, and the Netherlands, they didn't just take the land, they seized the central bank vaults. But the Nazis couldn't easily spend stolen gold on the international market. They needed a middleman to launder the metal into usable currency. The BIS facilitated the transfer of this stolen wealth into German accounts. Even more shocking, the bank's president at the time was an American, Thomas McKittrick. While American boys were dying on the beaches of Normandy, McKittrick was in Basel, sharing board meetings and dinners with Nazi directors like Emil Pohl, the vice president of the Reichsbank. The BIS provided the Third Reich with the foreign exchange it needed to buy essential war materials from neutral countries. They argued they were merely maintaining the machinery of international finance. But in reality, they were the financial bridge that kept the Nazi economy connected to the world while the world was trying to burn it down. By 1944, the bank's reputation was in tatters. How does a bank accused of helping the Nazis survive a direct order from the United States to shut down? In 1944, at the famous Bretton Woods Conference, the U.S. government, led by Treasury Secretary Henry Morgenthau, passed a resolution to abolish the bank forever. The world was disgusted. The BIS was sentenced to death. But the central bankers had a weapon the politicians didn't: time. They knew that as the war ended, the world would be in chaos. As the Cold War began, the priorities of the West shifted from punishing collaborators to stopping the spread of communism. The central bankers of Europe, led by the Bank of France and the Bank of Italy, launched a massive lobbying campaign. They convinced the new US administration that the IMF and World Bank were too slow and too political to rebuild Europe. They argued that the BIS was the only institution with the technical expertise to manage the Marshall Plan and the European Payments Union. By 1948, the order to liquidate the bank was quietly rescinded. It hadn't just dodged a bullet, it had embedded itself into the very foundation of the post-war recovery. So, how does it work today? And more importantly, who holds the keys? To understand the BIS, you have to understand the term sui generis, a Latin phrase meaning of its own kind. The BIS is owned by 63 central banks, which represent 95% of the world's GDP. But the real power rests with the board of directors. These aren't elected officials. You didn't vote for them, and you can't fire them. They are the governors of the most powerful central banks in the world, the chair of the Federal Reserve, the president of the ECB, and the governor of the Bank of Japan. They meet at least 6 times a year in Basel for the Global Economy meeting. These meetings are the ultimate smoke-filled room. There are no minutes released to the public, no press is allowed, no transcript is published. In these rooms, they discuss global liquidity and financial stability, code words for how much money will exist and what it will be worth. The bank enjoys what is called functional immunity. This means its assets cannot be seized, its communications cannot be intercepted, and its staff cannot be sued for actions taken in the line of duty. It is a private corporation when it wants to be, and an international sovereign state when it needs to be. It is the only entity on Earth that can play both sides of the legal fence to remain untouchable. But what is its importance today? Why should you care about a tower in Switzerland in 2026? If you want to know why your bank has certain limits on its loans, you have to look at the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, which is hosted at the BIS. They write the Basel Accords. When they decide that banks need to hold more capital, your mortgage gets more expensive. During the 2020 pandemic, the BIS played its most critical role yet. It acted as the air traffic control for the global dollar supply. It coordinated the secret swap lines that allowed central banks to move trillions of dollars around the world to prevent a total freeze. But their most controversial role is their end game. The BIS is the driving force behind central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. They are currently testing the unified ledger, a system where central bank money and even physical assets like real estate are all tokenized on one single platform. In the past, the BIS stayed obscure to protect the bankers. In the future, they may use that same obscurity to build a system of total visibility, for us, not for them. Their vision is a global economy where every transaction is settled instantly on a ledger they oversee. Efficiency for the system, total control for the house. The Bank for International Settlements is a ghost that became a king. It started as a temporary fix for a dead war and ended up designing the money of the future. It is a fortress of wealth built on the belief that money is too important to be left to the people. Whether that makes it the guardian of global stability or the ultimate threat to national sovereignty is a question history has yet to answer. But one thing is certain. In the world of fortune and ruin, the house always wins. And the BIS is the house. This is fortune and ruin. If you found this autopsy of Central Bank of Central Banks interesting, subscribe to join us as we unearth more untold stories.